But I still notice that whenever even I'm dealing with patients, they will still react with fear whenever we mention the word nuclear. And the issues of radiation have been mentioned. So what do you think that we can do as professionals to be able to shift the narrative from fear to understanding and to more of understanding the value that nuclear can be able to bring for us? Thank you.
Makofi, Daktari. Question number 3.
Thank you. My name is Beth Mushi. I'm the Corporation Secretary and the Head of Legal at the regulators, that is Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority. Mine is not really a question, but just to talk about the NEMA for the NUPEA. So we are a state corporation under the Ministry of Health, whereby our functions are stated in Section 6 of our Act, that is the Nuclear Regulatory Act. And the first one is to ensure the safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear power. So whatever we do as a country, maybe ongoing and maybe the decision that will be made by government, will ensure of the safety of this nuclear space. The second thing is also to ensure we protect lives, property, and the environment. And the third thing, just what you asked, is on the safeguards we have in place, especially when you look at our act, the safeguards with regards to the siting, the construction of the plant, and everything. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Biwakili Makofi. That's very good. Then number 4, who is going to ask us that question before we move to the social media side?
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Opar, a senior regulator at the Nuclear Regulatory Authority. I'll put it maybe as a question in terms of the role that NUPEA has in strengthening the regulatory and legal framework. Bwana CEO, you've mentioned that one of the infrastructure issues that are required for a country to develop at the preparatory stages a robust, safe nuclear infrastructure is the regulator and the legal framework. It is true, like Madam CS has said, KENRA was established in 2020. Do you feel that what has been done with the regulator and regulations is sufficient, or do you feel that there is still opportunity to strengthen and make robust the regulatory and legal framework as we draw nearer and nearer within the milestone approach? Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much for those questions by Engineer Flora, Dr. Itotia, Madam C, and Mr. Opar. I'll start with the issue of capacity building. Yes, one of the things that a country must do is to ensure that they have enough skilled workforce that will manage the nuclear power program. And indeed, NUPEA is undertaking that role. What we've been doing so far is that we've been identifying competent Kenyans and taking them abroad to China, to Korea, to the US, to Canada, to all these countries with this nuclear technology, for them to learn firsthand. And we've developed quite a number of Kenyans. So far, we are talking about numbers close to 70 individuals. But we need more. And we cannot be able to always take them out. What we are going to do is that we are now trying to work with the national institutions, national academic institutions, that's universities and polytechnics, so that we can be able to develop that training here. And that is work in earnest. Going to Dr. Itotia, yes, I know that there's a lot of fear about radiation. And that has been created by probably the first usages of nuclear for war purposes. But under international law, nuclear technology is not supposed to be used for war purposes, but for peaceful purposes. I think what we can do as professionals is to engage more in stakeholder engagement so that we can remove fear from our people, so that they can know that nuclear technology is available for peaceful uses. Thank you, Madam Mushi, about what you talked about, the role of the regulator. And indeed, the regulator plays a very important role. the existence of a regulator is a confirmation that the government of Kenya is very interested in ensuring that the nuclear technology shall be applied in a safe and secure manner. On Mr. Opal's question about the need for strengthening the regulations, I agree with you that it is very important that we continue to work at the work to ensure that as we get closer to having to start constructing the first nuclear program, we should have a robust regulatory framework. And indeed, it is part of NUPEA's role to work with the regulator and the Kenyan Parliament and all the other stakeholders to ensure that we have a strong legal and regulatory framework to support the nuclear program. Thank you very much.
Makofi, Makofi, Makofi. We are still in the program of Sema na Spox.
Bonga na Gava.
Sema na Spox.
Bonga na Gava.
Now let's turn to the other side and hear what we have from the socials. Over to you, Engineer.
Thank you very much. Sema na Spox, Bonga na Gava. Question number 1 comes from someone called Peter Mbugwa on Twitter. He's asking, why is Kenya pursuing nuclear energy while other countries are phasing it out? That's question number 1. Question number 2 comes from Engineer Belen Dubi member on Twitter from Mombasa. He's asking, when is Kenya expected to commission its first nuclear power plant? Question number 3, will the nuclear program create jobs for Kenyans? That comes from Omondi Abraham Christopher from Kilifi County. Question number 5 is nuclear energy cost effective compared to other sources? That is from Engineer Brian Ogechi on Twitter from Homa Bay. Lastly, what safety measures are in place for Kenya's nuclear program? That's a question come from Eugene Marwa from Gong on TikTok. Lastly, a question from an electrical engineering student at the Technical University of Kenya called Lynn Cheptumo. She's asking, how much electricity can a nuclear plant generate? Thank you. Back to you.
Those are so many questions. The irony of it is that most of them are from engineers, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. So I think it's a mixture of lawyers and engineers.
Yes,
no? Right?
yes.
Yeah, so we have time tusikie vile utatuambia tuone kama na uanze na hiyo ya kusema tutafanya commissioning lini. Hiyo ndio watu wanauliza hapa. Yes.
Asante sana.
Ama tu ni story na story na story. Sasa tunabonga na Gava, tunasema na Spox, lakini tutaanza lini? When is the commencement date?
Hii sio story ya Jaba.
Sio story za Jaba. Makofi hapo kama sio story ya Jaba.
Kenya's nuclear program is as real as the sun rises from the east and sets in the west. Because it was conceptualized in 2010 and we've been doing quite a lot. According to Kenya's energy plan, the least cost power development plan, nuclear is set to come on board in 2034.
2034?
Yes.
Okay.
Today, as we speak, I'm sure we see the number of times we have load shedding in our country and blackouts. And we must recognize that Kenya is a net importer of electricity. We are buying electricity from Ethiopia and Uganda. We want to be self-reliant in terms of our energy needs, and so as to guarantee that we have reliable, safe, secure, and affordable power. And therefore, the 2034 date is something that the government is working at earnestly to ensure that we meet it. So we hope to start construction in 2027 and the president to be able to commission the first nuclear power plant in 2034. Then there's the question about why nuclear. I think that is a very important question, and it's a real question that we need to interrogate. We have solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal, and those are very beautiful sources of energy, clean and so forth. But we are saying that we want to industrialize as a country. We need base load, power that can support our industrialization aspirations. And therefore, nuclear comes in to really meet that requirement. We must remember that we are in the age of climate change. When a government spokesman, we might wake up one day and find a river that has been running for many years, running dry, and probably it was one that was running our plants. We must be very cautious and plan for the future so that we are not surprised.
Actually, that's true, because the river that I used to fetch water when I was small, Roiro River,
Yes.
although people call me Modongo or Roiro, it's actually true, it has actually shrunk. It's now a stream. It's
Yes.
really becoming smaller and smaller as days go by.
Yes. And therefore we have to have a source that we are much more in charge of. We know that wind and solar are intermittent. They cannot support serious industrialization.
Okay.
And therefore we need we need nuclear.
So nuclear is more consistent.
Nuclear is very consistent.
But
You
people
will-
still fear about the Chernobyl, accident, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes,
Yeah, they linger. very
Hiroshima
deeply.
and Nagasaki were not accidents. Those were deliberate use of nuclear technology for destruction and killing in a war scenario. But as I've mentioned, today's we have an international treaty which requires that all countries with nuclear arsenal should undertake disarmament,
Okay.
so that the countries with nuclear weapons are supposed to start to be destroying them. And those that don't have nuclear arms are not supposed to pursue development of nuclear weapons at all. So the only mandate that countries can do with nuclear is for peaceful uses. And therefore, in regards to accidents, yes, we had an accident in Chernobyl, but that, as has been pointed out, was an accident. And because of what was learned from that accident, the current technology has addressed the things that led to that accident, and it's not likely to happen again.
Very good. Makofi hapo.
Thank you very much. And when it comes to the cost of nuclear power, is it cost effective? Yes, nuclear is cost effective, but we must say this, that nuclear, I like comparing nuclear to, like, if you buy a plane.
Yeah, yeah.
A plane is very expensive at the beginning, but a plane will take you to far places at a cost, a costly price. For example, if you were to go from here to New York, would you rather go by a bicycle or a car, or will you go with a plane? The plane will easily take you there in a shorter time, and you will be able to do your things. The same thing with nuclear. Nuclear is expensive at the beginning. The initial capital cost is very expensive. But we're talking about a project that is going to serve you for about 80 to 100 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yet, this is a project that is able to repay itself within 15 to 17 years. So that the remainder of the years, it's a bonus project. And the operation and maintenance cost for a nuclear power program is very, very low compared to other sources. Therefore, when you look at it, you find that most other sources, some of the best that we have, like geothermal, are going to give us electricity at 13 cents per kilowatt hour. But nuclear, when you do an analysis, is going to give you at about 8 cents per kilowatt hour.
So it's much, much cheaper.
It's much, much cheaper.
Yes, yes.
And
What about electricity?
in the long term? And it will give you steady, stable supply.
What about electricity? How much do we get per kilowatt?
You will get the amount that you require at it's stable, as in you don't, it doesn't go up and down. Yes,
there's
exactly.
No, load shedding.
Yes, there's no load shedding. So it is really reliable. It's like when you're doing rain-fed agriculture and irrigation agriculture.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're doing irrigation agriculture, you don't go sleeping and just hoping. You know that you will have provided the plants with the water that they require, and they will grow. But when you're only depending on the rain, if there's a drought, then you're likely not to have a harvest. But with nuclear, you will get what you expect at all times. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think that's a very, very insightful, moment. So just maybe in a nutshell, tell us, NUPEA, where are we in terms of the strategic plan implementation, in terms of your own internal capacity, in terms of opportunities that maybe young people may want to benefit from? What do we have? What do we have in there?
Yes, NUPEA, as I've mentioned, we are at a stage where we are about to move on to the critical stage of construction. And when we get to construction, nuclear projects employ upwards of 10,000 people directly.
10,000
during construction.
Okay.
And those are many
numbers.
numbers.
On the jobs kwa ground.
You're on the jobs direct.
Okay.
And we're not talking,
Unajua
those
tuko
are direct jobs.
Tuko na mpango wa jobs kwa ground, kazi kwa ground, kazi kwa mtandaoni na kazi majuu. So hizi ni kazi kwa ground. 10K. Zinakuja tu hivi pap.
Yes.
Engineer wote ambao wako hapa wanapata nini? Wanapata job.
Yes.
Na kwanza naona sijui kama siku hizi tumezeeka, lakini mamanzi naona ndio wameinuka kwa hiyo maneno bana.
And of course, you expect that those people who will work on the plant will need accommodation.
Yes, please.
So the landlords are going to get jobs. Those people will need food. They will need transport.
Yes.
So there are all those indirect jobs that are going to be created.
Yes, yes.
So there are very many other jobs that are created. And a nuclear project also will ensure that we have Kenyans that are highly skilled and can work anywhere in the world.
I see.
You know, an engineer who is trained to work in a nuclear plant can work anywhere, because the level of skilling that they get is really the kind of skills that can get you employed anywhere.
Okay.
We're also talking about the other benefits that will come by that, because with having affordable, reliable, stable energy, we'll have industries that will do commodities value addition and support the idea of creating a foreign exchange balance for our country, so that we will be exporting finished products and not always importing, exporting raw materials and importing finished products that causes us to spend more dollars outside.
So tell us about nuclear as you conclude now.
Yeah.
Nuclear and medicine, because you know, we are talking about the negative effects, but how does it help medicine? Maybe you can go deeper into that.
Yes, nuclear and medicine is very important. First and foremost, we've already pointed out that it is used in the treatment of cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, and also it is used in treating malnourished children.
Okay.
But also if we use nuclear technology in agriculture, we will ensure that we have crops that have good nutrients that will support the right health for our people, so that the crops that are being grown and produced have the right nutritional value. And we're also talking about the idea of ensuring that we are controlling our post-harvest losses through using nuclear technology in a process known as food irradiation.
Okay.
Through the process of food irradiation, you are able to kill pests and diseases in our harvest, so that they are not destroyed by pests.
Very interesting.
And you must remember that a lot of the international market is now frowning upon crops that are treated using chemicals.
Yes, that's true.
So with nuclear technology, we are able to sort out that problem as well.
Thank you very much for all of that. Very good information that really we didn't have, isn't it? Yeah, that we are learning a lot. Now, giving us your closing remarks, maybe your final thoughts, your punchline. What do you have to tell us? And then after that, we'll stand with you here and we'll do something together as we face the cameras.
Yes, I think nuclear is the future, and our government has been a very strong supporter of this project. The president has been a strong promoter of the program. When he was the deputy president, he hosted an international nuclear conference, and we actually need that kind of support, because for a nuclear program to progress, there's something we call national position. We need a strong pronouncement from His Excellency, so that international partners that we're going to work with can generate the necessary confidence to be able to work with us in this journey. As we speak, we have MOUs with the United States of America, we have an MOU with China, and we are also developing an MOU with Korea, which are some of the leading countries that export nuclear technology. With a bold statement from the presidency, those development partners will be able to work with us in confidence, because the development of this program is capital intensive, and we'll need development partners. Once we have that statement from high up there, these development partners should be able to put capital on the table.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for our guest.
Thank you very much.
Stand with me here now. Look at the camera there. Then you say, Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo, J wewe, 3 times. And then you finish with Daima, okay? 1, 2, 3. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo, J wewe. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo, J wewe. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo, Daima. Thank you.